Ready Check Radio.
Stand by as we get ready to serve up all your news this week in the world of gaming. Welcome to Gaming Gumbo. Hello, Internet. It's Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on Ready Check Radio. It's time for our Halloween special. Halloween this Monday. Hope everybody's going to have a safe one and an enjoyable one with family and friends. But we're here live, as always, chat, hanging out with us. We're ready to talk about some spooky games because that's the time of the year it is, gentlemen. That's the time of the year it is. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on iTunes, Spotify, or any of the other platforms we're available on, thank you. While you're there, give us a thumbs up, a like, a subscribe, turn on those notifications, whatever it is, and let us know what you're doing this Halloween. We appreciate it. It's fast, it's free, and it's the best way to support us. If you need to know where the socials are, head to the website there, readycheckradio.com. All the backlogged episodes and the socials in the upper right-hand corner for you, keeping it easy. Joining me, Mike Byrne, your host, as always. I seem to be running out of eyes. My eyes. Do I have a little something like right here? Guys, do I have a little something like right here? Over here? Up? Down? I'm not sure. Joining me, Mr. Dom Greco. What's up, sir? So you have joined us then, because we've done that, a couple of us too, 3 of us, celebrating 500 followers. Hold on, the chat is saying you might be muted. Did I mute the desktop audio? I did. I'm sorry, go ahead. So you did what? The Pocky Challenge. Go ahead, start over.
The Pocky one, I did the Pocky one chip challenge on a friend's channel. Coworker's channel, and it was for the kids, so it wasn't just to do it, it was for charity. But I wasn't feeling too good in my gut. That's where that when it hit there, I was like, I think I'm gonna do this challenge again in reverse.
Yep. It doesn't feel great going out.
Yeah, I made a pizza real quick, and then I just got back from TwitchCon. I was working TwitchCon, and I just got back, and I caught a bit of the con crud. Not COVID. I tested 4 times. I was completely COVID-free, but I did have really bad flu, so I'm still kind of taking cough medicine. So when I took the cough medicine, that's when my stomach started,
You are not responsible in any way, shape, or form for the foam pit, I assume.
No.
Wait,
No.
what? What
No.
is this?
No, it had nothing, absolutely nothing. That was I think Intel and another company that were paired together. So it wasn't TwitchCon itself. I mean, obviously, but I think it's more the venue's responsibility than it was TwitchCon's. But yeah.
Also on the line, resident artist here at Ready Check Radio, responsible for our catch screen there at the beginning of the show. Wonderful job with Val in her Halloween costume. We've got her in our overlays today, too. Looking good, a stud as always. Yod, what's up, sir?
The normal stuff, last minute stuff,
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what an eye catch is. And...
An eye catch? I don't have those. I don't have those today. Here's the best part. Obviously, thank you to Damina for helping get the makeup, just like last year when we did Zipper for face. But I always thought, this is the best part, Dom. I don't have eyes, but to do the show adequately, I still am going to need to wear the glasses.
I was actually going to
So we'll go ahead and put those on.
Sure.
That's the best part. Looking good. Good God, what are you looking at? What am I looking at? I can't see shit. I can't
'Cause
see shit.
I need to know more about this foam pit, and I think Havoc does too.
Oh no, Havoc knows about the foam pit. You don't know there was like a little
No.
American Gladiators, like 2 pedestals, and you kind of like jousted to knock one person off into a huge pit of foam cubes.
Huge is
It was
not the
not
word I would use.
made for people to be like diving off of this. It wasn't like 6 feet deep, made to be jumping around. It was made to just kind of stop you from hurting yourself when you fell a foot or
Right.
two into this
Right.
pit. But it was like 12 inches of foam pit on concrete. And
Jeez.
people were hurting ankles, hurting wrists and stuff. And then one very,
Yeah,
pretty prominent streamer busted her back in like 2 spaces
Ooh.
and needed surgery and shit like that. So,
Ooh.
yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh.
she did like a victory jump into the pit
Yep.
after she finished
Ooh.
and
Ooh.
broke her tailbone and a lot more of her
Dang.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's ooh.
Yeah,
Had to get
it was
metal
messy.
rods.
It was
Yeah.
messy. It was absolutely messy. All right. So it being Halloween, my favorite holiday, my absolute favorite holiday. We had over the course of the last couple of weeks while we were off a bunch of news on the survival horror / scary games front. So that's where we're going to focus our main topics today, kind of running those down, showing you the announcements if you didn't see them, and talking about our reactions. Because, gentlemen, I think right now we live in the best timeline if you are a classic survival horror game fan. However, when they come out, if they're terrible, it might turn into the worst timeline.
That's where they get you.
Right, that's where they get you. So let's kick it off with something we've talked about an awful lot on this show, Yod, particularly you and I with Jason,
Yes.
who rolls his
Oh
eyes
my
every
God.
time
Oh
we
my
talked
God.
about them. Every single time we talked about them. And that is, yes, Konami has confirmed multiple Silent Hill projects in the works, including, we're going to start off with the Silent Hill 2 remake, which I think if you're just going to do one, that is the one to do, right? I don't think there's any argument there.
The first one was pretty classic.
It was, but I think if you redo one, there's the expectation, like RE, that you are then going to go through and redo 2 and redo 3, and I don't think that's Konami's plan. I think they kind of looked at it and said, Dom, we're going to do one. Which one do we do? And they land on number 2.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I think that's the right call. I think that's absolutely the right call.
If you're just gonna do one, iconically and throughout the fan base, that's the most well-known one.
Yeah,
Pyramid Head's like their mascot at that point.
Yeah, it's got the Pyramid Head thing going on and all that stuff.
Yeah. Ironically, Konami not doing all of these internally, which is something that they've been doing lately, with the exception of going with Mercury Steam for Castlevania remakes for a little bit there. But they wanted to, like, remember the dark times when they tried that experiment to westernize some titles and it just didn't go well, so they got burnt and turned off by that. But now they are reaching out. This Silent Hill 2 remake being done by Bloober Team, which is not exactly the easiest team to pronounce when you have 2 prosthetic lips on. No, I'm not slurring speech or drunk or anything. Obviously, I do have something over my lips, but I think I am understandable and not all that unpleasant to listen to. Being done by Bloober Team, that's the team behind The Medium, which we've streamed here on Ready Check Radio before. And say what you will whether or not you actually like the entire product. I rather enjoyed it, but it did get some mediocre reviews in some other places as far as gameplay and narrative. But Dom, that had tremendous atmosphere, which is exactly what you need here.
Absolutely.
And can you skew a little to your right there? Val's kind of, there you go. That's perfect. She was hitting you with that staff and black cat that she's got there for Halloween. She's got that.
Yeah.
I think this is a great pick in Bloober Team. They were the ones that were involved in some of the rumors, Yod, we talked about. And their CEO did say, after it was announced, that this has been in development since 2019 and is already nearing completion, They're not ready to say anything about a release date because they're waiting for Konami, but it's probably going to be sooner than you think.
Right. If it's been in development since 2019, even with the whole COVID issues that every game company talks about, even today, with games that they probably announced today, they're still going to say they had COVID issues. But yeah, if it's 2019, it should be soon. As
Soon
opposed to
TM?
soon. Yes.
Soon TM.
Soon.
They also said that Konami covered the full development cost of the Silent Hill 2 remake, and Bloober Team is already being paid for next development stages. They're already earning money. We're already at a stage where we receive funds for each milestone, and of course, we have a margin on it. And yes, they will also participate in the event of success. So Bloober Team definitely has a financial interest in this succeeding because they're going to be direct beneficiaries, Dom. And here's where they say, internal research suggests, there's a hard sentence to say, internal research suggests that this will move over 1 million units. Their actual term is at least several million units. Ambitious, I want to say they might be a little nuts, but there's that chance that there's enough of us that are just like, whether it's good or bad, I'm going to give them a shot. And it's the next one that may or may not sell millions.
Well, let's vote this. Let's take a survey right now. Like, out of the three of us, how many are going to buy it?
100% I am. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
So
I too will.
That's 100% of the population right now.
Yeah, chat, let us know how you're feeling. Is Silent Hill 2 Remake a day one pickup, or are you a little nervous and you're going to wait for reviews? Like, where do you sit on it? Like, when I saw several million units, I'm like, that's high that's like Square Enix bullshit on some titles. But I could see enough of us just so hungry for a Silent Hill thing that, hey, I'm going to take a flyer on this one, and if it's bad, the next one is the one I'll maybe think about.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Never played
Especially
the OG one, so it's a gain, and I see I don't have the rose-colored glasses for it. Fair enough as well. Fair enough. You're going to wait for it a little bit.
If this was a new Silent Hill game, like brand new, I probably would not day one pick it up.
Really?
Because
even if it was made by like Bloober Team or somebody that you are familiar with what they can do.
Yeah, just because of Konami's track records has me very skeptical. If it was revealed that Kojima was doing it, I would obviously pick it up day one, but because of the state of Konami and, just in general, it would probably be something I hold off on. However, because this looks so good and it's something I'm familiar with and I already know what to expect, just make it look better.
Yeah.
I'm down. I'm all in. And because I'm all in with this, I'm kind of all in with, I don't want to say all of them, but F looks good.
Yeah, so ironically, I think F is the one I'm sitting in exactly the boat you just described.
Right.
Because it is a new one. So we'll move on to the next Silent Hill project announced, and that's Silent Hill F, as in Frank, because I can't say it. This one, again, looks super interesting and is, something new. They're going to be taking us to Japan for this one. So right away, we aren't in, quote-unquote, Silent Hill anymore, right? And they're going with Neobard's Entertainment as the developer, writing by Ryukishi07. So there's some familiar names here, but not familiar enough in like this space as far as like Neobards goes, right?
Right.
And
the Chinese-based company.
Yeah, and I do hate this, by the way. Silent Hill in the games was not based on Centralia, Pennsylvania. Silent Hill in the movie was based on Centralia, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
A place I have been to and is very, very interesting and cool, with fires burning under it in mines to this day from a 1962 fire. But that is, the article that we're getting some of this from says Silent Hill, traditionally set in Silent Hill, West Virginia, based on Centralia, PA. No, it's not. Not in the games. Not in the games. Anyway, the art looks amazing, but I don't know. Neobard is the lead studio? Like they're
Aren't they still working on Resident Evil Verse?
Reverse, yeah, the
Reverse.
multiplayer portion that was delayed over and over and over again. Yeah. It's I don't know. The trailer looks badass, and I'll tell you what, the sound effects, Zista, Dom, they were the ones that I was like, ooh, that sounds so gross. Oh, like the whole trailer just made me uncomfortable with the sound effects. It doesn't show a lot. It shows this, woman basically being consumed by something in the woods. But ooh, gruesome. It was gruesome with the sound effects.
I love the setting. I think the change of the setting is what's really interesting, and I'm very interested to see the lore of this and how it ties into Silent Hill.
Right, especially considering Silent Hill as a series is kind of, it revolves around Silent Hill, the town. So what happens when you take it out of the town?
Yeah.
How does it escape the town, or how did it get to the town?
Is it like Nightmare on Elm Street? Every town has an Elm Street. Is it one of those?
Yeah,
that's
the thing. Like,
Silent Hill?
Or remember when you think back to the original Halloween movies, right, where they wanted those to be called Halloween and released annually, but they weren't necessarily all a Michael Myers story. When Halloween 2 came out, they realized, okay, we got to continue Michael Myers. It was insanely popular. And then they did try to do something totally different that didn't involve Michael Myers in 3. And so maybe that's kind of what they're viewing the future of Silent Hill as, this more anthology-style thing, horror anthology, then every single game needs to be set in Silent Hill.
It does depend on how they play it off, and their reasoning behind the fact that it's a Silent Hill game that is not in Silent Hill.
Right. I'm all for it, although I am, Dom, a little more nervous about this one. We do have names involved that but not because you know them from a survival horror aspect.
I will say I'm also nervous, but I think that's the exciting part of it. Because like Silent Hill 2, you know what you're getting. You know what to expect. It's a safe play, right? So I'm actually not hyped for it. Like, yeah, I'm glad it's coming out. Yeah, I'm going to play it.
Right.
But I'm not very excited for it, Like, I want something new. That was the whole, thing about Silent Hills, when that was announced. It was something new. That's what I want from the franchise. Like I go back and play the other games all I want over and over and over again.
Yeah, on your Steam Deck, it's awesome.
I don't own a Steam Deck.
Steam Deck. Freaking Steam Deck.
I know.
No, I still have the original Silent Hill on disc for PS1.
Oh, so do I, yeah. But the Steam Deck's too convenient, damn it. Too convenient. Then we have another new Silent Hill in Silent Hill Townfall. This one, very, very weird. Like the partnership here. Because this is going to be with Konami, the video game division of Annapurna Pictures. That's Blue 12 Studio, who did Stray. And No Code Studios. So this is like a triple partnership. We know even less about this one because the trailer here is pretty, like it's full of Easter eggs, Silent Hill fans, by the way. If you go through this frame by frame, there's a lot of little Easter eggs in it, but it's really just a short clip of a portable television and some voiceover being like, what are you doing here? It's setting the atmosphere. I'll give it that. It definitely sets the atmosphere, but we just don't know anything about it. My dad had one of those little TVs. Like when I saw the trailer, I was like, I've held one of those. I've held one of those.
Yeah, I have as well.
I tell you what, Stray, they did a phenomenal job with the game, but it's in such a different category, right?
Is
Like, how do you go, oh, yeah, I see how that development carries over?
if they can capture the atmosphere of it, because that was one of the things I remember from the first Silent Hill game, is that there really wasn't any other people. You're kind of wandering around an empty town. So maybe that's the feel they're trying to
Well,
recapture.
then you have the cult and stuff like that, too. You do find
Right.
people later.
Too, but it's not like a town full of people. And
Right.
Stray, you run into the robots and the caretakers and stuff, but you don't find any people. So, I mean, it's a stretch. I know it's a stretch.
It is a great time to be a Silent Hill fan. An
Yeah.
absolutely great time to be a Silent Hill fan. That's for sure. That is for absolute sure. And then you want more Silent Hill? All right. You got a Silent Hill 2 remake, 2 new games in the franchise coming, and then a return to Silent Hill movie confirmed, bringing back Christopher Gans from the 2006 one, which honestly, I know, there's some people, I liked it. I enjoyed it. Like, there were some moments that I was like, eye roll, whatever. But I thought they were faithful in a lot of respects. Maybe not all, but in a lot of respects that made it an enjoyable movie. And if you watch the 5 or 6 minutes talking with the team here, Dom, you do see that they're very over and over again. We're respecting the IP. We're respecting the gamers. We're gamers when it comes to these games. We're going to do some things. You'll see Pyramid Head. Yes, he's in it, but we're going to do other things that, cause even Pyramid Head to be a little bit of a surprise for fans. And I like that approach.
Yeah, we're just not going to talk about the second Silent Hill movie, though, right?
No, we're not going to talk about that one. Doesn't exist.
Yeah,
No.
Okay.
That was what the fuck?
Do we have any clue when this is coming?
No.
Because really in this trailer, they just showed concept art more than anything.
Yeah.
So.
If that's all they've got so far to show, it's gonna be at least 2 years, I think.
Yeah, not Jay saying, I enjoyed it. They did a lot for it. Not everything can be perfect. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The first movie was creepy as hell.
Yeah.
Which is all you can ask in a Silent Hill movie.
Yeah, it's absolutely exactly what you want. Exactly what you want. So
my friend and I sat there watching it, and after we finished, we just sat there, staring at the credits rolling for a little bit. And then had to turn on 40-Year-Old Virgin to cleanse our brain.
Yeah, I mean, even the ending was pretty solid.
Yeah. They did a nice. Jace is right. They did a nice job for it. They did a lot of good stuff in there.
That second one, though.
Yeah. No. We
what
don't.
Second? It doesn't exist.
This is the second one, right?
Yeah,
we're returning to Silent Hill.
Yep, it's the second one.
Okay.
And this was one we covered on the Relic Grind, it being Square Enix, but we've talked about it here too, and it's Halloween. So we'll talk about a potential Parasite Eve game. Square Enix trademarked Symbiogenesis in Japan.
Okay, that's how you say it.
Yeah, symbiogenesis, and that word actually means the merging of two separate organisms to form a single organism. Now, it is not confirmed in any way that this is a remake of Parasite Eve 1, 2, or 3, or anything like that, or a new entry in the series. We don't know that for sure. But based on the definition of symbiogenesis, that is pretty much the story of the original Parasite Eve, Dom. So, is it okay to get your hopes up? Like, what else could it be, right? And Square has to see the huge cash-in over Resident Evil remakes. Konami now, and obviously, they would have maybe not known this yet, but Konami now cashing in on the Silent Hill remakes and new properties. This has to be Parasite Eve, right?
Yeah, I can't imagine it being anything else. You just look at the definition, like you said.
I can't. Do you want it to be new? Do you want it to be something new, or do you want it to be a remake?
I mean, I'm all right with remakes. I'm kind of sick of remakes, but I'm all right with them. Like, we were talking about like the Last of Us remake, and it's like, is it needed? Then I started looking at it, and I like looking at the footage. I'm like, yeah, maybe it was. Maybe it was. Maybe I just had, like there's a little bit of like, what do they call it? The like nostalgia glasses where you look at it and it doesn't look as bad in your head as it did when you were watching it. Like, I don't remember GoldenEye being so blocky looking when, I played it back then. You go back and look at it now, and it's like, yeah, that
It
was
was
pretty bad.
terrible. It was
You
terrible.
thought at the time it was the best graphics you've ever seen. So, yeah, I'm okay with this. I'm
Yod,
not.
if this is a Parasite Eve property, do you want it to be a remake or do you want a new story?
I think in order to get more fans so we can have more games, it needs to be a remake. I would love a new game, but I also see the point to that it needs to be a remake to get new fans into the series.
So which one do you
So
remake?
the first one.
You really go the first one here?
You gotta go
Because
the first one.
arguably to me, the second one, if I have to pick just one, the second one I think is a more fleshed out experience. Again, it's running into that same Silent Hill thing. Number one is a classic and a great game,
Well,
but number two is probably the better player experience in a direct head-to-head.
The way I look at it is you have Konami, who is not really good right now. They need to just pick one,
Right.
right? Where Square Enix is coming in, they're going, we could do all of them.
Right.
They're not picking one.
Right. I'm with Dom there.
Yeah? So
Yeah.
you guys go with the first one with the intent of, hey, it sells 2 million units, let's do number two.
Right. Especially since the first one was on such an old gen system that you can't really feasibly play it today unless you have the original copy.
Yeah, that's kind of like where I start with my, does this need a remake? Like,
Right.
if you're a classic game and you are, for the common person, just generally unobtainable anywhere, then that is like, okay, let's move on to, do you really need a remake because of your graphics and stuff like that? Like, that's why I was always confused by the Last of Us remake.
Same.
Because I was like, this is still
Yeah.
generally available in a bargain bin at a store. You probably have the hardware still that's going to run that bargain bin copy, but conversely, okay, I want to play the original Silent Hill. Well, you got to get yourself a PlayStation 1, and if you're a younger gamer, you probably don't have one, and generally they're or the first wave of 3, go get a PlayStation 1, you'll save a lot more money. And generally, that's not too hard to do for a PlayStation 1, but then getting a copy of Silent Hill might run you a little more than your average. So it starts to, none of these are in the ballpark of like, trying to play a Panzer Dragoon Saga realistically or anything like that. Please don't misunderstand. I'm not putting them in any of those types of buckets, but they aren't generally available. You got to go hunt a couple of pieces. So I'm totally fine with all these ones being remade. But I'm even one of those ones that looks at Resident Evil 4 and is like, okay, are you going to look cool as a remake? Probably, and we're going to talk about that next because we did get footage of that. But if you would have like handed me a slate of games, 4 probably would have been closer to the bottom of the list because it's just so generally available on generally available hardware still. But I don't have a problem with it being remade. I don't care about The Last of Us being remade. The only point I'm making is it wouldn't have been anywhere near the top of my list.
I would have remade Resident Evil 0 before 4.
Yeah, and then you always still have the argument of where's Code Veronica? Well,
Yeah,
they retold that story in Revelations too. So
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope it's. I'm kind of with you guys. I hope it's a remake. remake.
Yeah.
It's so far removed. We're not talking about there's the demographic that knows the name Parasite Eve enough to want a new Parasite Eve is not the target gaming demographic for these companies, right? It's the one step up. You got that group of 18 to 30s that the companies want, and then that second group of the 31 to 45-ish That's the group of us that say, oh, yeah, I'll buy a new Parasite Eve, no problem. But we're the second target demographic in gaming anymore. we're not the first anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, you also look at Resident Evil, not Resident Evil, Last of Us. Last of Us, like 10 years, right? It's been 10 years. It is slightly outdated, and it's more of a marketing thing, I think, because you got the HBO series coming out, so you want a tie-in piece of media to go with that.
Totally.
So, Last of Us kind of exists in its own little bubble, like in the
Yeah.
remake world, because of the media hype around it. It's like, here's all these perfect pieces that all line together. Media sensation overload. Like, go ahead. These other ones, a little bit different.
Yeah, and I'm not one of those ones that has that shouldn't be remade. It's just, where did it place on my list, high or lower? And if I don't want to play a remake, guess what? I just ain't buying it. Like,
Yeah.
It's not hard on my side. It's just,
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't buy the Last of Us remake because I didn't want to play a Last of Us remake. That's it. I have the Last of Us. I'll go play it if I want to.
Ninja Panda said, how old is Resident Evil 0? I believe it's 20 years old at this point.
Is it really?
I believe so. It came out on GameCube, right?
Well, yeah, it was GameCube, yeah.
Yeah,
It is
GameCube.
November, almost exactly. November 12th,
Wow.
2002.
Wow.
Oh,
Dang.
God, we're old.
It needs a remake.
Yeah, it
We're
does.
old. We're
does.
old. I think, though, if they do a remake, like... I don't remember. In the Resident Evil 1 remake, did they fix the fact that, like, Rebecca did not acknowledge anything that had happened in Resident Evil 0 when you run into her? Like, I don't remember if they fixed that or not.
Don't remember, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
I just played them all not too long ago. So.
Resident Evil 4 remake, we know that's coming. Got a release date and everything. But we had in what was initially leaks of some playtesting, and then they just went ahead and put out more materials.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what, man, it's one of those ones, like I just said, that I've looked at and I was like, okay, if you're going to remake it, fine, but it's not really high on my list. Then I saw the footage and I was like, oh my God, this should have been number 2 on my list. This looks so good. This looks so damn good, Yod.
And from the article, it seems like they did fix some of the story issues where they didn't refer to certain things, because now they can look back on the entire series and go, hey, these story beats have to happen here so that this makes sense over here down the line, which is good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, it is so pretty. It is so pretty.
Yeah.
In an interview with IGN, also, a big part of Resident Evil 4, for those of you that played the original, were those QuickTime events, right? The button flashing on the screen type stuff. They said, like, there were QuickTime events in the original, like when you escape from rocks. Are there changes to those in the remake? The team said, I'd say there are barely any QTEs. Different people may have different definitions of what a QTE is, so while I can't tell you that there aren't any at all, I can say that there aren't prompts to press buttons mid-cutscene. However, there are times when you need to press a button based on a situation. The whole team's been working to properly fit what some might call QTEs into the actual game. Big fan. Big fan. Big fan.
Yeah, when I watch a cutscene, I want to, like, take my hand off the controller for a second, relax, like, watch it unfold.
Yeah.
I don't, as much as I love Shenmue, like, that's the thing that drives me insane about Shenmue, like, all those QTEs.
IGN loved their like demo playtime. They were really positive about it. They like the changes to like parrying if you're a more veteran player, or using the knife as like an emergency escape thing. And maybe if you're not as experienced in the game, they liked some of the story beats that they've seen that have been restructured a little bit. Some background information added in scenes that was trying to like highlight the story. They asked, does that hold up from beginning to end? And they said yes. They said when Resident Evil 4 first came out, there, of course, hadn't been a Resident Evil 5 or a Resident Evil 7 Biohazard yet. We've restructured the story with this history in mind. So, again, one of the things we've talked about, staying as true to the original as you can. They just say all the right things, baby. And you know what? The first 3 remakes were so good. 1 and 2 being better than 3, but I enjoyed all 3 that I just can't help but go, yeah, this is going to be fine. You're going to like it. You're going to like it.
Another great part that I read in the article was people were asking about the resource management of like the briefcase system.
Yeah.
It's like, is that going to remain? Because it is kind of fun. Like you could be frustrated at it, but it's still kind of fun to manage that.
Gotta rotate the shotgun and stick it over here so you can stack the ammo.
Yeah, your storage Tetris.
Yes. And they said it's going to remain intact, so I'm excited.
I am too. Last little bit of survival horror. I'm going to give this a huge thumbs up. And I'm sorry to all of my Japanese friends. Callisto Protocol. And I'm not going to show a trailer because it makes some of chat squeamish sometimes. They are canceling their Japanese release. Now, remember, this game comes out, at the beginning of December, I think it is?
Yeah.
They are canceling just a few days before November breaks their Japanese release. This has to do with... Go ahead, Yod.
So you're telling me this is one of the few times where the Japanese folk have to get the American import,
they're going to have to import.
Where it's normally us Americans that have to go get the Japanese import to actually play the game.
Yep. On Wednesday, from the official social media accounts, we've decided to discontinue the Japanese version of the Callisto Protocol. The game's official social media channel said Wednesday, we have determined that the game cannot pass the 0 rating in its current state and that changing the content will not provide the experience that players expect. So we would appreciate your understanding in Japan. Basically, their ESRB rating, to cut it and make the marketable rating, the version of mature over there, they believe we'd have to cut too much. The ratings board is not giving us any leeway here, and we don't want to cut that type of stuff. It would be a totally different experience, so we're just not going to release it there. Now, a lot of games in Japan do this, by the way. They release 2 versions of a game sometimes, where one, they do have some cut stuff and it gets the softer rating, and then one that isn't cut as much and has the more mature rating, the Z rating, I believe it's called, right?
Censorship in it.
Yeah. Guess which ones sell better? Just take a guess.
The gorier ones.
They're just saying, nope. It would compromise our story and what we're going for too much. No, we're just not going to release it in Japan. So which I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of this decision.
So the amusing thing about their censorship laws and stuff like that in Japan is that it's our fault here in the U.S.
Oh yeah,
they're this way.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all the regulations we put on them after World War II, with the way that they used to view nudity and violence as opposed to how the American sensibility back then viewed violence and nudity, and we kind of made them that way. So it still comes back to America that they're censoring their shit, and
interesting.
I find that amusing.
Yeah.
December 2nd release date on the PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, Series X and S, and Microsoft Windows.
You're gonna buy that day one and play it on the channel, aren't you?
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yes. Hell yes. Look at what I'm wearing. Yes. Yes. Let us know what you are the most excited for. Happy Halloween. That's our survival horror rundown. Could have happened on a better week. Let's hit some miscellaneous news before we call it a night. Dom, Gotham Knights is absolutely getting raked over the coals.
Not surprised.
Were you interested in this one?
No, I mean, I initially was when it was first announced, and then I think when I finally saw some footage of it, I was like, no.
Metacritic right now on the PlayStation 5 is a 69 from nice. By critics and a 4.7 by users with 322 ratings. On the PC, 65 from the critics and a 2.8 from users on 130 ratings. IGN rated it a 5. How do I know that? Because somebody created a mod in Spider-Man where they made Spider-Man into their little hexagon that said Gotham Knights 5 and had the IGN logo on the back, and they just swung around town as
Wow.
the Gotham Knights score. Like, this already had the controversy of the frames per second, right? Being like locked at 30, pissing a lot of people off. But then, like, the gameplay and the performance from there, I mean, it is absolutely getting wrecked, Yod. Wrecked.
It is, and the frame rate thing, I 30 is a bit low these days, understandably. It is a multiplayer game, though, isn't it?
Yeah, you can co-op. Yeah.
Right. So I can see to make everything compatible throughout, internet stuff. You got to lowball that stuff.
No, come on. You are being such an apologist for them.
I'm-
Like there
I'm-
aren't a million games out there in this same genre that are co-op that have no problem running at 60 frames.
I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying it's easier just to cap it there for the time being. Now, that being said, we're also still talking about one of the games that when it was ported to PC, it was one of the Gotham Knights or Gotham type games.
One of the Batman Arkham games.
Yeah, one of the
Yeah.
Arkham games where when it was ported to PC, they had to issue refunds because it was such a terrible port. So these people don't have the best track record at making it compatible through all platforms.
Torchwick loves the Arkham series, and so when this was initially announced, he was like really looking forward to it. And then I remember talking with him like a month or so ago after we started to see some stuff, and he was like, I'm just not interested anymore. And it never even made it to the
That's exactly where I was at.
the reveal of 30 FPS and
Right.
and bugs and shit. Like he didn't even make it there.
No.
That's enough
That's
bad. Dom,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
is Mario Rabbids? Because I know
Oh,
you've been playing it. The
No, I haven't.
What?
I haven't. So I got back from TwitchCon
Yeah.
and I got the flu. Right. So I was out of commission for like a week and a half where I would literally get done with work or even like leave work early, chug a bunch of cough medicine and just get knocked out. Right. So this went on for a little while. I'm starting to feel better. I have like this residual cough and it's like I want to like start my stream back up. I had planned to do that when I got back from TwitchCon and I want to stream it, right? I don't want to I want to experience this whole thing on stream like I did with the first one. Like that one was a lot of fun. I have it. It's here. It's in my hand.
It
Not
still
even
has
open.
cellophane.
It's still
Oh
has
my.
cellophane. I got the steel case, like I went all out. I got the gold version, right? With the season pass that I don't even know what's in it, other than
you just
Rayman at some
want
point.
Rayman
Yeah.
in the third one.
Yeah. So like I'm excited for it. Like that hasn't changed. I'm super super excited for it. I just want to be better so I can enjoy it and not relate all of my sickness to my first experience with this game.
Well,
That's understandable.
that was a substantially shorter review than I expected.
I will say that I did look at the reviews for the game though, right? And everything that I've seen is nothing but praise. They're talking about how every system in the game is exponentially better when they could have just gone the safe route and just,
and do what they did again.
yeah, exactly. Just change the locations, change a couple things up. They said every single system, everything in the game is better. Everything. And I already thought the game was perfect. So if you're telling me it's better, I can't even comprehend that right now.
Mind blown.
Yeah.
I didn't buy it, but like you, I have Star.
You didn't buy it?
No, I did not.
I'm leaving the show.
I have Star Ocean installed on my PC. It came out this week, and I haven't had a chance to even boot it up yet.
Have you at least installed it on your Steam Deck?
What? Star Ocean? No.
No, Mario Rabbids.
No, because that would necessitate buying it.
Correct.
Because to
I know,
get those, I have to buy those. And I don't mind because I'll play it on the Switch, or my sons can play it on the Switch, my daughter can play it on the Switch, whatever. But no, I haven't picked it up yet. I'm going to. Just wasn't a day one because I knew in like the release schedule I wasn't going to get to it right away.
Yeah.
Hey, Xbox. Let's talk about them a little bit. The Xbox Game Pass failed to reach its subscriber target for the second year in a row. They are growing, but just like last year, not to their own internal goals. So I don't know what that says about goal setting or if that says something about the growth. I'm not sure yet.
I mean, last year's they wanted what 80 some odd percent, and they got 70 some odd. I'm thinking that's pretty good. That's not a complete failure on percentage growth. This year's a little sadder because it's 24%
yeah,
growth.
well they wanted a growth rate of over 72, almost 73%.
Right.
And they got 28.07%.
Yeah, so
28.07.
That's pretty sad. But last year, I'm saying that last year they did pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't just sneeze at a 70 some odd percent growth rate when you wanted 80.
Yeah. So they did 71. They wanted 71 in year one. They got 85. They wanted 47 in year two. They got 37. And they wanted 72 in this year and got 28. So it is definitely a much bigger gap than they were obviously anticipating. And we also had Phil Spencer come out. Remember when Sony announced their price increases on the PS5, Phil said, "No, we're leaving ours as is." Revising that comment, as we all predicted on this show that he would, and saying, yeah, we're going to have to raise points at some point, but we're not going to do it during the holidays. So if you're thinking about getting Xbox Series S or X, you probably want to get it before the holidays are over. Because what he had to say was actually pretty vague. He said, we held price on our console, we've held price on games, and our subscription. I don't think we'll be able to do that forever. I do think at some point we'll have to raise some prices on certain things. So, yeah. 28 this year, 15 next year. That's your prediction for Game Pass. So he doesn't say that like we're going to increase console price or game price, or like he just says we're going to have to increase on some things. And I think mostly, Dom, what he's probably hinting at is we're not seeing the blowback against a $70 game price point that we expected while other companies are trying it. So we're probably going to adopt that too. Like, I think in the order of things, it's probably increase the Xbox subscription, increase games, increase console. Like, hold the console increases as long as possible, because if your console's undercutting your competitor, that's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, you look at the prices of things, and I'm pretty sure, like, you even go back to, like, the old NES days, and I think, like, NES cartridges were usually, like, around $30 or $40, and then I think it was by the time that Mario 3 came out, cartridges jumped to, like, $50, $60, and games haven't really changed. You know, like, it's been that price point for how many years now?
Well, okay, see, that's a bit of a... I hate that argument. That the price of games hasn't changed. It's been 50 or 60. I hate that argument. Because no, it hasn't. That is like the most base level experience that is sold to you anymore, right? Buying the $50 game over the last 5 years or so has been like just to get you barely in the door for most games, because there's then the digital deluxe version or this version or this version. And it's not just a regular versus a collector. Well, you don't need the collector. Okay, but the whole experience of this game is buying this and having the season pass, which means now I need to buy the $70 or the $80 version. So
this was $90 right here.
Like, when was the last time you legitimately paid $50 for a game and then that was it, when you weren't purchasing an older game that was sold at a $50 price point and was a complete package back then? Like, that that's not the market these days. So I always hated that argument that, like, oh, the price of games hasn't changed. Yeah, it has. It absolutely has. It absolutely has.
There's all kinds of add-ons now.
Yeah, the
It's
DLC.
all
Yeah.
about the
I mean, but it all
DLC.
depends. Like, if you're buying the DLC, like, I don't know, like,
But you
I'm
got if you don't buy the DLC, it's not a complete game.
well, sometimes, but like, it depends on the game, right? Like Call of Duty, for example, right? I haven't played one in forever, but if I was to buy a Call of Duty, I'm the odd man out here. I'm not buying it for the multiplayer. I'm buying it for the campaign that may or may not exist in today's market.
Oh, cool.
But
Then
I
you're
would be
wasting
buying
money
it-
to begin with.
Right, so I would be buying it for the campaign, and guess what? The DLC never offers anything for the campaign, so I don't buy it.
Yeah.
You know, so
Then you're wasting money from square one. 50's too much for you, bro. Too much.
absolutely, I agree with that.
Hey, did you see this?
That's why I
Like
don't buy them anymore.
the controversy over Bayonetta 3's voice actress.
Jeez.
Oof.
Oh my god.
Mhm.
That yeah.
Helena Taylor had to go on Twitter and kind of explain some things because originally Helena Taylor was saying, I didn't do the voice for Bayonetta because I was only offered $4,000. And then after some members of the team tweeted some less flattering things, Platinum Games came out and said, this is unequivocally wrong. And then Bloomberg published a report that said she was offered around 15,000, not 4,000. And then Taylor had to come on social media and confirm that was actually accurate. And in her new thread, she said she was initially offered 10 grand total to play Bayonetta in the third game, but she thought that was too low and wrote a letter to Bayonetta 3 director asking him to pay her what she thought she was worth. Now, I have no problem with this aspect of things. Voice actors and actresses are taken advantage of right and left. Ask for what you're worth. You know, what you think you're worth, and let the team decide whether they agree or not and make a decision. So no problems here.
Mhm.
So she says that she thought as a creative he would understand. He replied saying how much they valued her contribution to the game and how much fans wanted her to voice the game. And Platinum Games offered her an additional $5,000 to make it a total of $15,000. She then declined to voice the game. Then heard nothing from them for 11 months. Then they offered her a flat fee of $4,000 to come in and do some lines. Now, that it's not quite clear what that might pertain to, but Bloomberg reported that Taylor was actually offered then a cameo role at that point after the Bayonetta voice was given to Jennifer Hale after some auditions. So that's the 4,000. Which Taylor was like, I want to be on artist's side all the time, Yod. But it's not like you lied. You said, hey, I was offered $4,000 to do the voicing. But what you were offered $4,000 to do the voicing for was not Bayonetta, and it felt like you purposely left that out.
Right.
You were actually offered $15,000, and you decided, fair enough, you decided, I'm worth more. I don't want to do it for that price. Okay, but then you don't get to bitch. And by the way, Taylor started this.
Yeah.
This wasn't like Platinum said something and she came onto the internet like, I got to defend myself. She was calling for a boycott of the damn game.
Right. And the whole 15,000 thing is it's 15,000 was the base price because it wasn't that it was a 15,000 flat. Because the Bloomberg article was saying that it was it was either 4 or 5,000, I don't recall, per session, with X amount of sessions guaranteed with possible other sessions after that. So the 15,000 was for those guaranteed sessions, and then she would probably have to go back in to do some redos or some extra scenes or whatever, which adds on top of that 15,000. Granted, those extra sessions aren't guaranteed, but the contract is open-ended there for that specific purpose, that you can make more than that 15,000 once things get rolling. So, I mean, that's, in this case, it's her own damn fault. And like you said, I'm being an artist, I'm all for artists getting paid what they're due.
And particularly voice actors are taken advantage of all the time.
Right. Yeah, I know quite a few of them, and they do get lowballed quite a bit sometimes. There was the whole article earlier this year with the anime Mob Psycho
Yeah.
100 or whatever, where the company wouldn't even talk to the voice actor about using a SAG contract, which they had to. And that type of stuff, I'm all for that stuff being corrected because once again, I am an artist. I like to get paid for what I do, and I think in this case, she's actually hurt the cause of
Yeah.
getting paid for your worth, like tremendously damaged the cause that we've built up over the years of actually getting paid for more than
Yeah.
exposure.
And Bloomberg says that her retort was, according to their sources, a 6-figure request. Now she says that's ridiculous. That is not true. But and she was like, this game's made 400. This series has made $450 million. No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. It hasn't.
Regardless of that fact, if they did or not, that's not the point.
Right.
Though. Because once again, if you get paid for what you're worth, it doesn't matter what the rest of that series goes on to do. If it's in your contract that you're getting paid X amount for your work and you believe you're worth that, you got paid for it. If the series goes on to do extremely well, you don't get any residuals because that wasn't in your contract. Just saying.
Yeah, the whole situation, and Jennifer Hale was just like, where do you go if you're that poor woman, right? Like, you auditioned for a role, you got it, you got cast, you accepted the rates, you went and did your voice work, and then you see this, that the person you're replacing is now calling for a boycott, and you're like, well, I'm under all kinds of NDAs, I can't even really say anything. Like, she went to her Twitter and was just like, hey, let's be nice, and I hope everybody gets paid what they're worth, of course, and sleep is a good thing. And so, yeah. The Sims had their summit. The Sims 4 is now free to play. No, it's not. Go look at how much DLC that fucking game has.
Like we said, it's all about that DLC and the add-ons.
But the next Sims is supposed to have a bunch of stuff that in Sims 5 that we've never done in The Sims before, including some multiplayer features and new customizations. I fell out of The Sims a long time ago, so I couldn't care less. But it is big news, so I brought it here for you. Right? No, Sim Tower. Sim Ant. I'm talking about Sim Ant, which is probably still one of my favorite Sims. Damina loves the Sims games, loves them. But she hasn't played one in forever, so I don't even think she knows there's a new one coming out. Do you guys care about The Sims at all?
Last time I played it was when they brought an app onto Facebook for it. Like 10 years ago.
define care about. Like, am I gonna play it? Is that what you're asking, or am I happy that they're doing it?
Time for Games of the Week. Games of the Week is the way we end every episode, Halloween or not, of the Relic Grind. Gaming Gumbo here. It's where all three of us are going to recommend a game to you. Could be one we've played recently, played before, never played before, and just think you should on the tabletop, video game, PC, mobile, whatever. And you let us know in the comments who gave the best recommendation. I'm going to say you go play the original Parasite Eve, baby. Get the fuck ready. Go ahead, Dom.
I mean, is it a surprise? We're Mario.
How are you going to recommend a game that you haven't even decided?
I can recommend a game that I haven't
you
played
own it. You didn't even open it.
I have faith in this game. I haven't opened it. You're correct.
Didn't even open it.
Nope. I have faith in it.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
I got nothing this time because you took Parasite Eve and he's got Rabbids and.
Okay, Yod's got Silent Hill 2.
You could have Silent Hill 2, the original Silent Hill 2.
Original Silent Hill 2.
Which really means we just asked chat to decide whether Parasite Eve is better or not than Silent Hill 2. Is really what just happened there. That's what that's going to turn into.
I'm doing that under protest.
Under duress.
Under duress.
Blink
twice. Selected Yod's game for
much more. Yes.
Blink twice if your game is under duress. That's going to do it for us in our Halloween episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We, of course, will be back next week with another episode of Gaming Gumbo. Until then, Yad, where can everybody find you?
Yada works on Twitter, Yada works on Facebook, and right here on Gaming Gumbo.
Dom?
Ooh. I think I'm also on Gaming Gumbo. But yeah, you can find me down here on Twitter at Itzista.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at Magic Man 1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio, and you'll know via Twitter every time we go live with a podcast or a show. Until next time, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.